For our next segment, we've actually asked one of my CBS colleagues to take on some of the hosting duties. We're going to do this by video for our next introduction.
Hello, and welcome to Not the Late Show. I continue to be Stephen Colbert, and I'm going to kick things off by wishing a very happy 247th birthday to the United States Marine Corps. Remember, when that cake arrives, don't forget to blow up the candles. It is my honor to present this year's Marine for Life Award to my friend Rob Riggle. We all know Rob from his work on Modern Family, Talladega Nights, The Hangover. They tell me he was also on Saturday Night Live, but I must have missed that sketch. I first got to know Rob at The Daily Show, and since that time, he's always been there for me whenever I've asked, which is once in the last 7 years. The point is, he's available. Contact his agent. Of course, these days, most people know Rob as one of the KFC colonels. But before he was the colonel, he was a lieutenant colonel in the United States Marine Corps. Rob served almost a decade on active duty and then joined the reserves, where one of his jobs was a public affairs officer for the Corps right here in New York City. In fact, the first time he attended this event was 1998, and he was in uniform and on duty. The organizers told us that when he left the Corps, Rob felt the importance of staying tethered to it and to supporting all veterans. He gives back on a constant basis, and he carries the Eagle Globe and Anchor with a unique pride that inspires and ignites appreciation for service. Yes, sir, Rob Riggle has always been there for his fellow veterans, ready to put any burden on his broad shoulders, very tiny head. Folks, I am thrilled to introduce this year's Marine for Life, Rob Riggle.
Oh, come on. That's crazy. Relax, everybody. Oh, my gosh, what a night. Thank you, Stephen. That's awesome. All right. This is so amazing. Really, it truly is. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge a couple people. My girlfriend, Kasha K, who came all the way from L.A., my sister, Julie McKee, and my niece, Mallory McKee, are here tonight. And thank you for making the effort to come in from Kansas to be here. Although Mallory does live here now, and she's looking for a job, so just... All right. Also, I want to thank Jerry Byrne, Jake, Zach, you guys, tremendous effort putting things together, getting this thing to come off as well as you do. It's always a pleasure and an honor. So thank you for your hard work. Appreciate that. Appreciate the invite. Appreciate the honor as well. So thank you for that. When I sat down to write this speech, I got all amped up on patriotism, and I got mad. So I started writing this thing mad. So if it comes off mad, I love you all. I love this country, and that's what this is about. It's about joy. But before we do that, is there any Army in the house? Okay, well, that's about what you're going to have to deal with this. This is coming at you. And by the way, whoever the Marine was said, who cares, is right on time. Army guy, and you'll have to forgive me if you've heard this one. Marines, you've probably all heard this one. Just smile and shut up. This is for your spouses, basically, but for anybody who doesn't know. Army guy dies, goes to heaven. Shocker there. But anyway, goes to heaven. Gets to the pearly gates and says, St. Peter looks him up and says, yeah, you can come on in. And he goes, well, not so fast. I don't want to come into heaven if there are any Marines in there. And St. Peter says, oh, don't worry about it. There are no Marines in heaven. Maybe a couple guarding the streets, but that's it. And he goes, okay, cool. So St. Peter takes him in. They're walking around heaven. It looks amazing, you know, pillars, the white flowing robes, very striking. And this razor-sharp, lean, mean Marine in his dress blues walks by. Doesn't even pay him attention, just laser-focused. The Army guy freezes up. He says to St. Peter, hey, I thought you said there are no Marines in heaven. And he goes, huh? Oh, that's just God. He thinks he's a Marine. Friends, I also have a bunch of dirty jokes, but I can't tell you those. I'll tell you those out back, I promise. I'm very fortunate. I was here for the first one of these. I was actually here for the first three. I was a young captain, and I used to help Jerry and Harvey and some of the guys run this ball for year 1 through 3, from 97 to 2000. And then I left active duty, stayed in the Marine Reserves right here in Manhattan, MTU 17, great little unit. And on 9/11, when the attack happened, my unit was activated that night. When they closed the bridges and tunnels, we were the only reserve unit in Manhattan. So I got a call from my CO, said, put on your boots and utes and report to 1 Police Plaza. Tomorrow morning at 07. So I did. I showed up, didn't know what to expect. I was like everybody else on September 12th, shocked, in shock, felt like a gut punch, but it was right here in the town I was living in. And we went to work. That's all we could do. 12 hours on, 12 hours off, 12 hours on, 12 hours off for the next 6 days while we did search and rescue, because it was still search and rescue. We didn't know what to expect. We had 6 stories of rubble down there, 6 stories. They couldn't bring in the heavy lifting equipment. They couldn't bring in the bucket loaders or anything because we were afraid of cave-ins, because we thought there were thousands of people down there. We didn't know. So we just started moving the bucket brigades up and down like ants up and down that hill. And the buildings were unstable. So one of the buildings even collapsed a day later, 2 days later, I think. It was a very trying time. But I've never been more proud to be a Marine, especially when you've got, when I say surreal, it was surreal. That Ground Zero was like something out of a movie, something I've never seen before. And you had F-16s flying cover over an American city. That's surreal. That's another surreal experience. And I spent time down there until the 18th, and then they finally said, okay, now it's no longer search and rescue, it's search and recovery. So they moved me to 1 Police Plaza, where I helped coordinate military and civilian efforts at the time. I had a green badge at the time, and I was, which is a top secret security clearance with a SCIF clearance. So I knew they were going to need people. So I called my CO and said, I want to go back on active duty, see if they need me. So he called CENTCOM, and CENTCOM picked me up. And so on November 10th, the Marine Corps birthday, November 10th of 2001, I got my orders to Central Command. And then from there, on November 17th, I reported to Central Command, and on November 30th, I was on a plane to Afghanistan. So that's how fast the turnaround is, and that's why you have reserves, so they can backfill and be ready to go. And about a year after I finished my tour, I did a year working in the JOC. I went over to Afghanistan twice during that year. And about a year after I got back, I got on Saturday Night Live. So America's a great country. I will say I don't think America's ready. America's not ready. I'll just say it. And unfortunately, it never has been ready for the calamities that have befallen it. Pearl Harbor, 9/11, like we just spoke about. But you know who is ready? You got it. The United States Marine Corps. That's who's ready. I love the Marines. I love the Marines because they're always on watch. They're always ready to respond to whatever crisis there is. You may have heard it said, I know I have, but you may have heard it said that the Marines are America's force in readiness. That when the president picks up the phone and dials 911, it's the Marine Corps that answers. Well, it's true. We've seen it over and over and over again. I love Marines because they're brave. I love Marines because they do what they say they're going to do. And if they can't do it, they start figuring out a way to do it. That doesn't happen in Hollywood. I love Marines because they're out there right now. As I'm speaking to you, they're out there right now, like the Commandant just spoke of. Tonight, thousands, 31 to be specific, Marines, but more than that, more men and women in uniform are out there deployed tonight, away from their loved ones, waiting, training, preparing day and night, 365 days a year for whatever mission may come their way. They're out there for us. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to the Marines for taking me from boyhood to manhood. I'm grateful to the Marines for making me believe in myself. Serving this nation as a Marine is one of the greatest honors of my life. I love the Marines because they keep it simple. Marines have one mission, and we do it better than any other fighting force on the planet. And like Jake said earlier, locate, close with, and destroy the enemy by fire and maneuver. It's simple. And everything we do is designed for that. We may get other missions. We may do humanitarian stuff. We may do peacekeeping. They give us all kinds of missions. Not a problem. At the end of the day, we locate, close with, and destroy the enemy by fire and maneuver. And everybody's job is geared towards that. We keep it simple. Or as the Marines say, keep it simple, stupid. The old KISS acronym. We love our acronyms. KISS. Well, I get approached almost every day by young people asking me for advice, and my answers can differ very, very greatly depending on what they're asking me about. But I try to keep it simple, stupid. It starts with knowing yourself. Know yourself and seek self-improvement. We all remember that from our Marine days, right? One of the first leadership principles we ever learned, because it's the foundation of what we do. You got to know yourself, and you got to try to improve yourself. Decide what you want. Decide. Just decide. And then once you decide, make a plan. Keep it simple, stupid. Execute the plan, supervise the plan, adjust the plan, and then repeat. And that's what we do. That's what we do, and that's what we've always done. We take one hill, we make a plan to take the next hill. Once we take that hill, we make a new plan, and we keep going. People my age and older worry about America and the younger generation. Older generations are always harder on the younger generation. It's just the way it is. That's nothing new, and I'm obviously no different. I think this generation of Americans, this next generation of Americans are really the most tech-savviest generation we've ever had. I want to say more. They're really tech-savvy, guys. Super tech-savvy. And hey, that's not nothing, as my dad would say. I was going to go on and rip the younger generation just for fun, but the truth is, and the Commandant just touched on this, we are in good hands. There are very good Americans out there, young Americans, who understand what is going on. And they just fought 2 wars with incredible courage, incredible valor. So I won't pick on them too much. However, more will be required of America and Americans, much more. We're going to need a massive injection of resilience and courage to face these tests that are coming. And I won't bore you with the list of issues that will require courage to conquer, but we all know the list is long, and we all know it's terrifying. If we've learned anything from history, and God, I hope we have, America doesn't have the option of hiding its head in the sand, ignoring or appeasing evil. We must do what we've always done. We must bear any burden and pay any price. We must stand up to the bully. We must stand up to evil. The world needs us. Even if we are struggling to believe in ourselves right now, I assure you, the world needs us right now. No one, trust me, is fleeing to Russia. No one's fleeing to China, Venezuela, North Korea, or Iran, I promise you, but they are fleeing to America by the tens of thousands every day. And why do you think that is? You think it's because we're bad? Do you think it's because we're evil? Do you think it's because we're racist or sexist or whatever they want to say? It's not. The answer is no, and you know what the answer is. You know it's not that. The answer is because America means freedom. It means hope. It means opportunity. That's why they risked their lives and the lives of their families to come here. For that. America is the world's last best hope. You've all heard that. It's got to be us leading the way. Power hates a vacuum. And if we don't lead, someone else will. And I don't want it to be China. I said it. I'm not a politician. The world is looking for America right now to do what they have to do the right thing. The world wants to know if we have courage. Every minute of every day, our enemies, our friends, even ourselves, we want to know if we have courage. Courage doesn't mean being invincible or indestructible. It means getting back up when you've been knocked down because your kids are watching, because America needs you, because you refuse to let evil triumph. Courage means getting yourself together and getting your mind right and deciding what you're going to do for yourself, for your family, for your nation, and for others. We need to know, are we cowards? Can we be counted on? Do we have what it takes? Well, I'm blessed to know one group of Americans who have already decided who they are. They've made up their minds. The decision is made. The question about what they will do and where they will stand have already been answered. The Marines know who they are. They also know that you answer that question with action, not words. The United States Marine Corps is ready. They're always ready. And thank God for that. Semper Fidelis, God bless America.
Hey everybody, it's John Stewart. Man, am I excited for Rob Riggle receiving the Marine for Life Award. He's the best guy, and he's a Marine for life. I mean, I can tell you, when we first hired him at The Daily Show, there'd be times when, he would submit a sketch or a field piece that wasn't quite up to snuff. And then I would go in and I would have to say, Rob, listen, we're not going to be using that piece on tonight's show. And I'll never forget, he stood up. He's a little bit larger than I am. And he said, "You will use that piece, maggot, or you will give me 20. And I think that's when I knew. Then he kept saying that the coffee machine was 2 clicks away from his office, which does make a whole lot of sense. But you couldn't have given the award to a better guy, somebody who's more fun to work with, more of a pleasure to be around, and who still holds his fellow Marines and all the men and women that serve in his heart. So congratulations to Rob, and well done.
Hello there, Riggle, Big Rig, Hot Glove. I'm so sorry I could not be there with you tonight, but congratulations on receiving the 2022 Marine for Life Award, or an honoree. I think you're an honoree of it, but it should be an award. If they've not given you anything, they should. Just get them to make something quickly. I gather you're getting on the Intrepid, which of course is just a block away from where we used to work together, remember? Do you remember that, Rick? Do you remember sharing an office together? Do you remember coming late to work every day and coming to our office that we shared together and calling me on our office phones 3 feet away from each other? Do you remember calling me pretending to be different people when I was on writing deadlines? Do you remember doing that? I think you probably do remember doing it, because you did it every day for years. Anyway, I'm so glad. They could not have picked a better Marine for this honour. They probably could have picked thousands of better Marines, to be honest. They couldn't have picked a better person. I'm not even entirely sure that's true, but I'm so glad that you got it. Have a great night, mate. Hope to see you soon. Bye.
Those guys are amazing. They're incredible. And they're very funny, and they're very talented. And they're incredibly patriotic as well.
Congratulations. Thanks.